David Allen, and I'm talking with Jessica Mallow. We're talking about when we hit a point in our life where we feel like giving up. You said when you hit that point, you found the family. And how did the family help you?
Just knowing that you have this group of people that some people have gone through similar things that you've gone through, the same thing you've gone through, worse, you know, so many people, it's like you couldn't imagine putting yourself in their position and experiencing what they experience, you know, and then it makes you reflect on your life and go, wow, you know, other people are hurting too, and they're still here, they've still come so far, and you kind of get rid of that woe is me feeling, you know, you feel like, okay, you know, look at these people there, and then they're there to help you as well. You know, they've come through a bunch of crap, and they're here to help you too. You know, which is pretty amazing.
And of course, having the ability to let yourself, you let your feelings go. I think the family, they don't mind if you cry, they don't mind if you scream. That's a freedom, right? To have. Was that surprising to you that people would allow that to happen?
Somewhat, yeah, you know, but I mean, it's comforting, you know, to know that you can come there, and if you need to just scream out and cry, and, you know, like I said earlier, you can't do that. Sometimes you can't do that with your family. You can't do it at church, you know, and, you know, there's just, it's just some way you can express yourself more than you would think that you could, and it's much better to do it where you can bounce ideas and pain off of other people and have some comfort instead of being all alone, you know. Because that's hard to deal with things when you're all alone.
So the key point when you're going through a rough time is to make sure you're not alone.
It's really
But
important.
at the same time, and people feel that way, they want to be alone.
True. Yeah, because I certainly did. I went through that.
So how do you break out of that cycle?
That's a good question. I mean, just like me with scuba diving, having to face my fears, that's a fear, having to get out of your room and out of your bed sometimes, you know? So having to just push yourself to go do something. And then once you do, you end up feeling so much better, you know? Like on my Wednesday meetings, you know? It's like, oh, it's 4 o'clock, I gotta go to group, and, you know, but then I get there and I'm happy that I've been there and we've chatted or we've laughed or we've cried a little bit, or, you know, it's good. Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, I know you go to a number of family groups. Why do you like the East Street one?
It's one that I've been going to for so long, and we have the same core people, you know, and they've seen me grow. I've seen them grow. I've seen different, you know, people come in and out. Some people who have left and come back, and, you know, it's just it's nice. I feel very welcome there too. Then I do go to the one at MPCC some. And that's a smaller group, and it's nice as well. Of course, you're at the Wednesday group, so that's very important for me too. Yeah, but, you know, it's nice going to different groups too. And then I see some of the people from East Street at, you know, some of the other groups as well. So that's
and
nice.
I saw you visited Camp Road one evening too.
Yes, I did.
What do you think of Camp Road?
Yeah, that was good too. I like that one as well. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how we do migrate to certain ones that we like to go to. Yeah, yeah. But the East Street one is it's important, and, you know, and that's the chat group that I'm on, you know, as well.
And so, Jessica, the way you got help was what people just letting you express yourself, or what they said to you? What was it that helped you the most?
All of that, really. And lately, you know, over the last 6 months or so, having people tell me how far they've seen me come, and, you know, how
the
they're
validation.
Yes, it's important, you know. It's like, oh, because sometimes you don't see that in yourself, you know. And when somebody else says it, that has really, you know, been there and seen you go through some things, and, you know, it's comforting, you know, and to know that people care enough to even validate you like that as well.
No, that's one thing about East Street. They really do care. Yeah, it's amazing how they reach out to people in a powerful way. Do you think that's characteristic of people when they're deeply hurt, or that's just the East Street group?
No, I think that's human, you know, and yeah, I think a lot of people are like that, especially when you've gone through something. You know, some people can be flippant about it if they've never experienced certain pains in their life. You know, but people who have, they can sympathize and help.
And Jesse, you know, Did your rough time just happen quickly, or gradually came upon you?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone through things my whole life ever since
Really?
since I was younger. Yeah, so I mean, I've had emotional roller coasters in my life, and you know, thinking that I had it all together as I was getting.
I mean, it started
more.
since you were a child.
Yeah. I was young. I was young. I had mental health problems back then. But then, you know, being in relationships and this and that, and you know, thinking that okay, life's moving on, and then, you know, it can throw you curveballs.
And Jessica, you know, that's so important because all through the world, mental health issues are increasing or occurring more frequently. What would you think? What should we do for children to make sure they're safe?
Oh, children have it tough these days, you know. First, they're being born with just media, you know, in their hand, you know, just not so much actual social interaction, you know. Families are, I mean, I can't say all families, but you know, families they're busy. They're so busy doing other things. You know, we need to nurture our children. We need to be there for them. We need to have them in good programs. You know, or like the kids that come to the groups when their parents are in group. You know, I think that's important as well. You know, having because you know, kids are going through a lot. They're already going through a lot, and then sometimes they come home with their parents fighting or alcoholic parents or drug addicted parents, and that's difficult too. And you know, some of these young kids, they feel like there's no way out other than street life, and you know, we see that more and more. But yeah.
And your parents were there for you, your mother particularly.
Yes.
Yeah. So in spite of her problems, she was still able to be present.
Well, and it was later. It was after I'd moved out. You know.
Oh, I see.
It was after I'd moved out. So yeah. But I mean, they were, you know, they were very nurturing, my mother and my stepfather. And then my dad was a bit distant, but he was still, you know, part of my life as well. But yeah, you know, we had lots of love, lots of affection in our family.
What would you say to parents who have a child who maybe needs mental health? What sort of things you suggest they do to help that child?
Well, definitely see somebody, have them, you know, evaluated, and you know, find out what the issues are, you know, because if you don't know what the issues are, then you can't you know, go a certain route, you know, because some people say, oh, that's just how my, you know, kid is, you know, when they're terrorizing the whole classroom or something, you know. Sometimes it can be a behavioral problem, and you know, we need to figure out what's going on with our kids so we can, you know, help them.
Well, you know, Jessica, because you've been through a lot, you have a lot to say. I learned a lot from you because sometimes when a person has suffered a lot, they're a greater healer. And we see this a lot in the family, that the people who've gone through the most sometimes can also be the deepest form of healer in the group. Make sense to you?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, we've been there, you know, we've been there. That's why I studied psychology in college, you know. That's why I got my bachelor's degree in, because, you know, it's like I've been on both sides. I want to be on both sides of the fence. I don't want to be, but, you know, I've been on both sides, you know. So you can learn so much from a book, but when you've lived something, then you can feel, you can have compassion, you know, and understand it more.
And you said you've been on both sides. Jessica, what are the things we should not do when a person's hurting? What are the things we should not do?
For one, give up on them. That's one thing my family never did, was
What?
give up. Give up on the person.
Don't give up on the person.
No, don't give up on them.
Okay.
No, because that was one thing my mom and I talked about, because of all the hell, that I put her through. You know, she never gave up on me. You know, it was always.
So you never give up. What's another no?
Don't judge the people. Don't judge them for what they're going through.
Don't judge them.
Yes.
Now, how does one avoid that?
Well, because it's not really our place to put past judgment on people, or how they deal with certain things. You know, we can suggest what they should do. You know, or you know, obviously, if you're in the like you being the doctor, you know, but. You know, I think that's something, because people, they might feel guilty about what they're going through, or they might feel we don't need to add more ridicule, in other words, you know.
That's important. So the first thing is you should not give up on them. Secondly, you shouldn't judge them. For example, expressing contempt or calling them names or putting them down.
Right.
Very, very important.
Yes.
Yeah. What's another no-no?
don't know. I don't know. You know, some people are big enablers, you know, they can enable people, especially when it comes to addictions and families as well, you know.
Try not to enable somebody.
Right.
Try not to give in to their addiction.
Yes.
You know. And I guess it does help to get other people involved. If you can't cope yourself,
Yeah.
get other people involved.
Right.
Some people want to do it all themselves, but the truth is no one could just do everything. And one value of the family is that it's not a one-person thing. It's a group saying, look, we're here for you.
Right.
And so one person in the group may not be able to help, but another person may be able to, and then another person may be able to, and that group comes to support that person. And I've seen that work a lot with people in the family.
Yeah.
So the no's when a person has mental health problems, that you must not give up, because people can tell when you're giving up, right?
Yeah.
How can they tell?
Well, you feel like, okay, well, you know, they're not there for me anymore. They've just, or they just completely turn their back on you and shut the door. You know, families do it all the time. You know, it's like, well, they're a lost cause. They're hopeless. I can't deal. You know, I can't deal with it anymore. You know, and they just shut the door on them. You know.
The second one is judging them. Try not to judge them. Accept them as they are. It's an illness. They're not being bad. They're not trying to hurt you. They just are going through a difficult time in their life. And then, of course, the third thing is, don't think you're the only one who can help.
Right.
You know, it takes a country, it takes a village, it takes a community. People helping people. You need people around you. You know, that sounds pretty simple, but it's so important when you hit a rough time in your life.
Absolutely.
Any, you know, you've been in the family now quite a long time. Anything else you've seen in the family that you found particularly helpful?
Just really having that communication with people, and you know, going in, and you know, some days we go in and we don't talk about ourselves, but we listen to what's going on, you know, and you know, sometimes somebody has a crisis and it's focused on them that day or for the hour or whatever, you know, and seeing that you can be support for other people as well is reassuring too, you know, and you know, and how we, you know, we pitch in and we got our little opinions and this and that, you know, and you know, it's
Jessica, one issue is that, you know, each family meeting begins with a kind of meditation or silence.
Yes.
How did you find that when you first came?
I like that. I like that a lot. We get centered, you know, with the mindfulness.
What do you mean centered?
You just you're aware of yourself. You're aware of your surroundings. You peace your mind a little bit, and it opens your mind a little bit more to what's going on for the group, you know. And you it's not like you block out the rest of life, you know. But while you're there, you can focus a little bit more, you know, and having a prayer and having the meditation as well it's nice.
We're going to take a break and be right back.